So it's been about 3 months since I've been using my Galaxy Note 10, and I thought it'll be a good time for me to share how I have set up my phone and how I've been using it. I'm going to split the video into 4 sections. First is the basic setup, when I got my phone. Second would be a few more intricate things that I changed. Third would be my home screen setup and the apps that I use. And fourth would be how I have physically maintained my phone, which may not be that great. Now let's start with the first thing that you see, which is the lock screen. So I'm using a combination of face plus fingerprint plus pin. Face because when there's ample lighting, I know for a fact that it'll unlock my phone. Fingerprint for when I'm unable to use face, for example, in low lighting conditions. And third is pin. I don't use that too often, but just sometimes, if you need someone else to unlock your phone, I think that could be a scenario. I think it works pretty well for that. So everything gets covered and your phone's as secure as it could be. Next, I make sure that my Samsung account is all set. Now, I know a lot of people don't do that, but there are so many benefits that you don't even know about.
To begin with, you can sign into your Samsung account and you can see all the information regarding your phone up front. So, services that are installed, places that you've configured. But the best part is actually that you can find your mobile or your smartphone and you can do a ton of things. So let's say that someone stole your phone or that you lost it and you just cannot find it. You have a list of all the phones on the left, you can choose your phone, and then you've got a bunch of things that you can do. You could ring your phone, you could lock or unlock it. You can extend battery life, you can back up information, you can even track location. So if you've not already set up, just go into your settings, into your accounts, and then there's an option to add a Samsung account. Just do that.
And now let's talk about a few more advanced settings that I changed on my phone.
For example, I like having to single swipe down to open notifications. Now I'm using Nova Launcher, so for me, I just have to long press, go into settings, gestures, and then set the swipe down to expand notifications. But if you're not using Nova, go into home screen settings, and then there's a swipe down for notification panel, turn that on, and you're all set. Then I've set up the power button to launch the most frequently used app by simply double tapping. You can go into side keys settings and set that up. Also, I got the brightness control out of the notification tray so I can manually override it whenever I want. Initially, you don't have it. So if you want to bring it up front, just go all the way down, tap on this arrow and then say show control on top. And that's it.
I also keep my Dolby Atmos always on. It never goes off. It's such an amazing feature to have, especially when you're listening to music or if you're watching movies, whether it's on YouTube or Netflix, just feel the difference when it's off versus when it's on.
The keyboard of my choice is Google Keyboard. So many benefits along with just typing. First of all, it's got a clipboard internally. So everything that you've ever copied comes on the clipboard and just one tap, you can have it up front. There's a floating keyboard and I can resize that whenever I want. One-handed keyboard for, it's a large screen and you need it. And I also love Google's prediction, which is pretty accurate. There's inbuilt stickers, GIFs, and an internal translation tool if you need it.
And I've also configured my Do Not Disturb, and I use it pretty often, especially when I quickly want to get into my Zen mode or just don't want to be disturbed at all. Now I know there are a lot of apps that do the same, but it's already in your phone, and yeah, it may not be as comprehensive in terms of features, but it does the job pretty well. Now before I talk about the apps that I've installed on my phone, I want to talk about the apps that are already on the phone and that I make use of. And the first one is Samsung Pay. And I'm not sure why people don't know about it or they don't use it, but it's such a no-brainer app, especially for people who make payments using their debit cards or credit cards.
So you just pick the card you want to use in the app, scan your fingerprint, and then just tap it on the machine and your payment will go through. Then comes the Edge panel. The first panel by default is the calculator, so that's pretty handy. And the other thing I have is a direct dial. So my favorite contacts that I dial the most often, I don't always have to open the dialer, they're just a single tap away. Now for this, go into your display settings, make sure within Edge screen, Edge panels is turned on. Once it's turned on, you'll see all your Edge panels up front. Now these two are actually not available on the phone. So hit the Galaxy Store and then you will find direct dial and calculator. And now let me talk about the home screen that you've been staring at for so long. I'm using Nova Launcher and I've placed apps and widgets up front that I think I need throughout the day. If you want to know how you can get this set up and how to use Nova and KWGT, there's a video on the top right corner. Just go ahead and watch those out. The time and date widget that I'm using is from Ghosty KWGT, link in the description below. Now let's come to the apps and all the widgets that I have up front. On the right, I have two widgets for maps. One is, just tapping on it will tell me my way home and how long it's going to take. And the other one is the same, but for work. So with one tap, I can just quickly get to know how long and my route back to work or to home. Obviously, your location has to be turned on for this throughout, which may end up using a little bit of more battery. Then I have a single tap reminder setup. So just one tap and it opens up the Samsung reminder app in, take a new note mode. And then I have this Paytm widget, so I can immediately scan a QR code and make a payment directly without having to go and open the app altogether. Next, I have two Google widgets. One is the Google search widget and the other is Google voice search. And what that does is, if there's a song playing in the background, it'll help you identify the song pretty much like how Shazam works, but only faster. In the center, I have this widget that says focused work for 45 minutes. It's actually from the app called Off Time, which you will have to install separately. And when you tap on this widget for 45 minutes or whatever configured time, your phone goes into this do not disturb mode. Only calls and messages get through and no notifications will come to you, so you can focus all on work or whatever it is that you're doing.
And now let's talk about apps that I installed additionally on my phone.
And I'll only talk about apps that may be useful for you, no social media stuff. Okay, so the first one is AirDroid. I use it to transfer files wirelessly between my phone and my computer. It's really fast and it's free. And then let's talk about Halo. Halo is something I use to dim my screen below the screen's lowest brightness levels. Very useful in the night. Then there are a couple of icon packs that I use, which, I'm a big fan of customization, you would know. So yeah, those are just there. Then there's Google Keep. That's, basically for my to-dos and quick reminders. Live Transcribe for quickly converting voice into text. Very useful in meetings. Oh, Moobird. This has been my favorite music app. It's basically a AI-generated music streaming app. It has some really great tracks and very useful for, when you want to do focused work. Then I have Notion, and if you guys don't know about it already, you're missing out onto a lot. It's like my daily, weekly, monthly, yearly planner sort of a thing, and it's a great productive tool. But yeah, it's a little difficult to get to, but yeah, just know about it. Then there's Retrica and Snapseed for photo filters and all that. And then I only have 4 wallpaper apps. They're all different from each other. They're very unique in their own offering. I do talk about a lot of them, but yeah, these 4 are pretty much everything you need. Then there's YouTube Music and YouTube Studio and Off Time. So yeah, those are some apps that I use typically, which are different from, your usual Facebook, Instagram, and all that.
All right, and now let's talk about the physical setup of my Note 10, which I don't think I did a great job. First of all, I still have the factory screen protector that came with the phone. I did not change that. And I did not put a tempered glass either. And I don't think that was a great idea because 2 things happened. First of all, I do have a crack on my screen now, which you can see it's on the bottom left. No damage. I mean, the phone still works well, but yeah, it's there. And the second thing is I've got a ton of scratches on my screen guard or the screen protector, which is fine. I can just swap one with a new one and it'll be as good as new. Also, I did not put any third-party case or even the rubber case that came with the box. I sort of wanted to keep the red color nice and shining. I mean, it's just so pretty. But yeah, there are not many scratches. I think the back held up pretty well, except for a bit of chafing around the edges because, when you keep the phone on a table or a desk, that's the only area that comes in contact. So apart from a minor scratch, which I can't even see, yeah, it's done a pretty good job. So yeah, that's it guys about my setup of the Galaxy Note 10. If you've got any questions, comments, feel free to comment them in the section below and I'll answer them happily. So thank you for watching guys and don't forget to subscribe.